Okay, so this idea that, gratitude is our natural state and that we are wired that way, I'm basing that on the idea that God made us as mind, heart, and spirit beings. And obviously, we all know we are vibrational. And I've talked about how, your thoughts, your emotions, all aspects, there's a vibration to it. Well, the idea that gratitude is actual vibrational communion, that's something that I wanted to bring forward now, and that really all we need to do is let it flow. Where we're like, oh, I feel so happy, I feel so grateful. And we know what that feels like. And that beautiful, buoyant, loving energy that we're feeling in that moment, it kind of fills our heart. We know this, it's not just up in our heads. And we don't ever have to force it, and we certainly cannot manufacture that, right? So that's why I say, it's actually something that is greater than us, and all we're doing is figuring out how do I flow more with it. It's just about becoming aware, right? The key is awareness and then wanting to be in alignment with that. So therefore wanting to be intentional whenever you can, whenever you notice something and you get that glimmer of gratitude, get that glimmer of happiness, you want to say, let me feed into it a bit and let me commune with it. Okay? So any glimmers of that, that is the tangible experience of actually communing with God. It's your felt experience of actually being in alignment with that vibration. And the fact that that's always accessible, I think that's a pretty accepted thing. God is always accessible to us, then therefore this feeling is accessible. Sure, life gets in the way and whatnot, but we actually have evidence every day all around us that we're tuning into this vibration, and we have to actually maybe mention some of these things so that we realize, oh, that's a type of gratitude as well. So some of the things that I think are gratitude that we might not consciously pause with is things like being amazed by technology, a GPS, or the new things that a phone can do. It's just an amazement that your life gets to be improved by certain things, right? Technological and so forth. Or if you say, wow, I cannot believe how well we all worked together and we got this done and it was so efficient, right? Finishing something efficiently, whether it's by yourself or in a group, and just that feeling of, yes, man, everything was really rocking and rolling on that, right? Being proud of just your ability to be independent and to be an individual, but also to work amongst others in like conflict resolution or relationship issues and that sort of thing, That's a type of thing to be grateful for. And, even when you are able to say, I'm going to be praying for you. I know you're getting ready to go into surgery. Or, some of the things I tend to do is when I'm driving and there's a guy who's always walking his bike along the highway because it's a big hill and, he's not going to be riding at that time. But even if he is, he's riding it or he's walking it, I'll say, God, please watch over, keep him safe. I don't know this guy, but it's a type of gratitude I feel in that I can join forces with God and in that moment say, I'm asking for this direct attention to this person, this fellow human being. Even something like that is a type of gratitude that we can say, yeah, it's really every day, all day. I have opportunities to tune into that flow, and I'm always actually grateful. I'm just maybe not paying attention, right? So, here's where we want to actually say, how do I make it more of this active communion? Okay, so let's talk about that. The idea of actively communing with that, if it's already happening, we're kind of naturally we're thinking it, but we just maybe haven't been catching ourselves and going, I really want to do something with that momentary thought that I'm having and magnify it, then the idea of just focusing on these two things, being mindful and magnifying things, it is definitely within your power and within my power. We can at least do that. We're not meant to be perfect, and that's okay. It's not about how often we do it, okay? And it's not about how perfectly we do it. It's about when we are catching ourselves and going, I'm taking this moment, and I'm really feeling the technology. Wow, it's amazing, and I'm saying, let me feel that for a moment. Let me truly appreciate that. Any of these types of things, when you're saying, in this moment, I'm aware, then you're attuned to your thinking, your emotions, the vibes you're feeling, and you're just choosing to pause. One of the good things you can do is breathe, like inhale and actually just anchor that thought. Just almost feeling like you're just sucking it in and you're just like, bring it way down and way into yourself. That's a very physical way of, taking the moment to be mindful. Just knowing that I'm conscious, I'm present. I'm so happy that right in this moment I caught myself and I'm like participating momentarily, right? And know that another way that you can always find reasons to be grateful is when, let's say you're having a struggle, you're having problems, but you're awake to, you're not just saying, that person's wrong, and that's the end of the story, right? You're like, no, 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 there's a resistance here. Or there's some sort of blockage. There's some sort of emotional baggage I've got. I mean, when you're willing to acknowledge that, then you can be so thankful that you're not just thinking, well, this is a done deal. The only reason that I'm having this problem is some other person. You're able to say, I'm having this opportunity, to be awake to resistance or to blockage. And then just being grateful that at that moment you can tell yourself, I'm not stuck. Because as soon as I'm awake to that, I can bring that to God, and God always will help me get unstuck. God always will help me kind of release any blockages so that the vibration that I want to be in is going to be more accessible again. It's always there, but I'll be able to tune into it again more readily. So I think that's beautiful, that we are empowered in so many ways. And it's just a matter of being mindful of that empowerment, understanding that that's what it can look like. That's what it is in our daily lives. And besides that, magnifying anything that you do feel that buoyant, full feeling. And like I said, magnifying it by breathing it in, magnifying it by just pausing. So, they say, like, eliminate some of the other senses, right? So a lot of times we'll close our eyes and we'll just feel the breeze on our skin, or we'll just be in a moment of reflection, and so we'll turn off the music and we'll just allow for some of our senses to not be bothered so that we can really tune in. All of that is a type of conscious choosing, right? But what happens when we still feel like, it feels fake, it feels forced, it feels very far away, I'm really, really struggling? Here's what I think we can do. We can focus on building on the ordinary. We would love things to be even better. We would love things to even be extraordinary. But if nothing else, you can and should build on the ordinary. That's when you're going to try to just the simple things. Savoring the food you're eating, enjoying the evening walk you take, whatever it is. You don't need words. You just want to tune into the resonance. You don't have to say, thank you, God, even though, of course, that's fine. But you want to tune into the resonance that is there for you, because then you will feel like, okay, I'm building on this. And when you build on that, building on the ordinary, that really, really will enable you to start feeling like it truly becomes more of a natural process. It's not as intentional as it just is kind of naturally occurring in how you approach living each day. And included in that, if you can expand your definition of positive, we think of positive as the things that we think should go a certain way and whatnot. And certain things we're like, no, that's a negative. Who could say that's a positive, right? But in any time of life, positive is everywhere. There's evidence of it. And so maybe what we need to do is define it as just any forward progress, any harmony, any little bit of harmony or balance that we can say, I'm actually going to validate that. I'm going to see it enough to say, I mean, it's there all the time for me, but today, there's so much harmony within my work team or something like that. Something that you take for granted. because it's been there all along. But you're like, I want to see where the progress is. I want to see where the positives are. Harmony and balance, those are things. Forward moving, or realizing that you have deeper thinking, or in your relationship, there's clearer understanding. These are positives. And, even those things, you want to magnify them more. And then ultimately, it's just about seeing gratitude as the privilege that it is. We are so privileged to be in this kind of connection that we can tap in and tune in to that greatness, that mystery, that's always there. I mean, obviously it can be measured by science, but it's way more than just atoms and, stuff like that. So it's this amazingness that we are able to tap into. And gratitude, then, I think, is just simply that connected communion that we are feeling in that moment. We can recognize it, we can notice it, we can mindfully pause, and really that becomes our own communion. It's a type of worship of all things that are moving in our lives. And I just hope that you realize you really are already doing this. I hope that this series is validating that for you and for me. As I've thought through what I wanted to say in each of these episodes, I realized that the main thing is I don't think we should ever make ourselves feel like this is an additional thing that we have to do. So really, we have to validate that we're already doing it. And then we just have to say, I want to do it more. I want to be more mindful, more engaged, more awake to it. Not every single moment of every single day, but when it hits me, when I have a pause and I go, ooh, you know what, this is pretty amazing. Or, wow, what a moment I'm having. Then I really want to tune into it and be with it, be present, and be conscious and intentional. And really, I think that's what gratitude mastery looks like. I'm not an expert, and I'm just saying that mastery is a lifelong pursuit. In any field, mastery is not the end. Mastery is always expanding and deepening and honing. And our experience of this circuit and of our, tuning in to God's vibration and knowing that, really what it is our gratitude vibing right there with the energy of love and all that God is, I think that it is an ongoing journey. And so it's not a mindset or rules that we're going to ever have to follow. It's a choice, a privilege. And just conscious moments like that, it's our sacred communion. That's our living prayer. And no one can tell you how to do it. All we know is that we are each doing it as mindfully as we can because we love the experience of what it feels like to expand on that and to really feel into it. It's such a blessed feeling. So I really hope that you will return to this playlist whenever you're struggling as life goes by. I hope that it will help you to remind yourself of just how well equipped you really are. We are well equipped to honor the life that we have and to partner with God in making the most of it. And I think gratitude is that beautiful conduit of experience that we have. As your understanding deepens, I really hope it will empower you to share and be an encouragement with the ones that you love. The work that you do to embody these things, the work that I do to embody these things, this really does have a beautiful impact. And so finally, let me just leave you with this. You and I, we're not striving for gratitude. We're simply tuning into what God has already placed within you and within me, and noticing, honoring, and magnifying that vibration.